and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you something about my E-Fatbike. Some of you have noticed that in my earlier videos there has been this Maxx Huraxdax E-Fatbike. So some of you have asked me to tell me something more about this bike. I guess that this is a little bit more rare bike and these cannot be found everywhere. Let's check some details of that bike. So, as you can see, that's an e-bike, and that's an fat bike, and that's a full suspension bike. So there is quite a lot of features in this bike. As far as I know, currently there are only 2 full suspension E-Fatbikes that have modern geometry. The modern geometry means that this head tube angle is something like 66 degrees or 67 degrees or something like that. In a traditional geometry, the angle is something like 70 degrees or 69 degrees. As far as I know, only Lumens has a carbon bike like this, and it has the modern geometry. The price for that is far over 10,000 euros. And I guess that there is not much use for the carbon frame when you are having an e-bike. What does the modern geometry means in practice? When the head tube angle has smaller degrees, the front tire is a little bit more front, and of course that makes that you won't fly over the bars that easily when something stops the front tire. It also affects the steering a bit. With this kind of modern geometry, the steering circle is a little bit bigger, and so the bike is not so agile. But I haven't seen that kind of problem when I have been riding on the trails. I think that it's better to handle with this kind of geometry. In fact, I didn't realize much difference when I was driving with this kind of bike, but after I changed to a bike which has a traditional geometry, I was really afraid that I would have the OTB, and I was a little bit scared of riding at first. So I think that it's very comfortable, this kind of geometry, and I wouldn't never buy a bike with the traditional geometry. The motor is Shimano EP8, and that's a okay motor, I would say. It makes more noise than, for example, Bros, and there is also some problems with the cranks. You need to be sure that the cranks are tight enough, but not too tight. In my case, there has been replaced the cranks already once for warranty. The battery is 720 watt hours, which is quite big, and it's enough for a longer rides. In my case, there is a Shimano XT 12-speed system, but currently this bike is sold with 11 speeds. I guess that the problem is the availability of the parts, and that may be one reason. In fact, there could be also other reason, because with this 12-speed cassette, the smallest 10-tooth sprocket wears very fast. If you don't drive carefully, you won't get even 100 kilometers with the smallest sprocket. But when you change the speeds carefully, it may last over 500 kilometers or something like that. But I guess that it won't last longer. Luckily, you can buy those smaller sprockets separately, but also those parts are quite hard to find at the moment. The bike is delivered with Sunringle Mulefoot 80 wheels that are not so reliable in my opinion. In fact, I have been riding with this bike about 2000 kilometers, and the bearings of the freewheel has cracked already once, but of course the warranty covers those. As a brakes, I have these Shimano standard BR6120 brakes, I'm only 70 kilograms and I don't need better brakes. Those are enough for me. About the suspension. There is a Manitou Pro front fork which travel is 150 millimeters, and I have this Manitou Mara, the standard version, which is 145 millimeters travel, which is quite nice on riding on the single tracks. I have also the dropper post, which is very nice when riding on the single tracks in the woods. I have made by myself the bottom cover to this, because the original Shimano bottom cover is very hard plastics and it's very thin, and I don't think that would cover properly. I have made this cover of an old snowmobile part. As a tires, I have these Schwalbe Almighty 26 x 4.8 inches, and I have put studs on the tires. One interesting thing is that, in fact, when you buy this kind of fat bike, you get two bikes on the same price, or almost same price. Because I use those fat tires only in winter, and now when the summer comes, I have the narrow tires that fits in this bike, and those tires makes this e-bike as a normal mountain e-bike. And in fact, I'm going to change the tires today. And if you didn't know, the Maxx bikes can be configured for your needs. Especially, you can choose what kind of brakes you want, what kind of saddle do you want, and other stuff like that. I guess that it depends on the bike model, what can be chosen from the factory in your configuration. Despite there has been some small problems with the bike, I guess that this is very good bike, and I wouldn't change this currently to any other bike. I ride it with pleasure. But now I'm very excited to wait that the snow melts, and today I'm going to change the narrow tires in the bike, and hopefully I can get soon to the summer single tracks with this bike. If you have any questions regarding the bike, please put them to the comments and I'll try to answer the questions. But as you can see, the weather is very nice now. The temperature is about 15 degrees. It would be nice weather for a little ride on the ice. And I guess that it would be the last time I'm riding with the fat tires this winter. Let's see how does that look. Yeah, nice OTB. Yeah, it was a nice ride. There was a muddy part in the end of the ride, and I guess that the bike was quite deep in the mud. If there wasn't electricity, I guess that I couldn't ride there. And as the only part where there was some snow, I had nice OTB right away there. So I have to say that this kind of tires are not for winter riding. But luckily the summer is coming soon. So hopefully you got some kind of view of this bike, and again, if you have any questions of the bike, please put them to the comments and I'll try to answer those. Thank you for watching, and please remember to subscribe my channel. Bye!